Welcome to the WealthWise Show, where financial success meets informed decisions. I'm your host, the Wise Investor, and I'm here to guide you through the fascinating world of finance and help you to make wise choices. Join us as we unravel the secrets of smart investing and effective money management strategies in the different realms of financial education. Remember, the information provided on this podcast is for informational purposes only and educational purposes only. Always consult a financial professional before making any major financial decisions. Now let's start the show. Alrighty, guys, welcome to another episode. I think this is episode 27. So today's episode, I'm going to try to keep it simple, easy to understand, and concise, because I don't have a lot of time today. So today's episode, I wanted to discuss about children and money and how you can teach your kids about money. Just a little disclosure, I don't have any kids, so I know I can only give so much when it comes down to teaching kids, but I can give a lot when it comes down to teaching how to about money, because that's my job. So let's talk about basically how to teach kids about money and some of the things that you can do as a parent, as a guardian, or as a teacher to help the youth to learn how to manage money. I'm pretty sure you already heard it in the intro, but just in case I forget something, a little disclosure, this podcast is not to be taken as financial advice. Please don't consider it as financial advice. If I happen to say a ticker or a stock or something like that, I'm not endorsing the company or anything like that. I'm using it as an example. And of course, this content is meant to be for educational purposes only, and do your own research. That pretty heavily, I heavily express that a lot on a lot of my podcasts. Do your own research. It's important for you to take in the knowledge that I'm giving you and put your own imprint on it, essentially. So back to the topic at hand, teaching kids about money. Like I said before, I'm not a parent, but I do have siblings, younger siblings, and I have nieces and nephews. So being around younger kids, especially very little ones, babies, essentially, they're very curious. And one of the things that kids learn early on is the concept of value. When they want something that, you as a parent or a guardian can't give them because, hey, I just don't have the money for it. They're understanding, okay, so for me to get something, I need to give something of value to get that. So understanding the concept of money at an early age can be easy for kids. And I just want to give a few tips and a few takeaways on how you can help them be responsible with money. So as they grow up, they have already installed in them how to be responsible with their funds, and two, how to get money, essentially, not just be responsible with it, but how to get it and keep it and use it properly. So one of the biggest things, which I know a lot of parents already know, is an allowance. You can make them earn an allowance through chores and things like that. I would say depending on, well, I'm not a parent, so your parenting style, if you feel like, hey, making up your bed is a chore that deserves an allowance, hey, by all means. But I look at more like things like mowing the lawn, things that maybe takes a little extra step to get to, not stuff that you absolutely have to do because that's part of living and taking care of yourself, but things that you technically could pay someone else to do, but you yourself are going to do it. So maybe providing a weekly allowance for doing chores can help them understand how to make money. Hard work produces income at an early age. And for the parents who may say, well, I can't afford to give my kids an allowance, I mean, there could be a number of things. And it's not like, you have to give your kids $100 a week or anything like that, like a full-time job. But just a little extra spending money. If you go to the dollar store, give them a couple of bucks, to go pick out some candy or something like that. Just basically something that can help, associate hard work with, getting money, essentially. It'll help teach them with, budgeting as well. So if you don't work this week, you're not going to have money this week. So if you don't work, you don't eat, essentially. So if you have younger kids, especially ones who are not of working age, where they can't go out and get a part-time job or a full-time job, an allowance doesn't matter, how much money you have. Like I said, it can be something small. And, that will help them to develop the skills necessary to start seeing the responsibility of having money. And so you can always, give them an allowance for their chores. Something else that you can potentially do is, if you do have kids who are maybe in high school, who are of legal working age, encourage them to get a part-time job. And I know, sometimes it's like, okay, I want my kids to pay bills. Like I said, I'm not a parent. It's just me personally. I feel like, if you're doing all the appropriate things that I'm asking you to do as a parent, I'm still going to take care of you. And the money that you make, you can put that towards your new life for when you do get ready to move out. Like you can put it towards, if you ever want to move out someday and get a down payment on a house or a car, something for yourself, use that part-time job to save and learn how to be disciplined with that money. Learn taxes, because when you do have a part-time job, you're going to get a W-2, learn how to, I wouldn't just have them take their taxes to like a TurboTax place or H&R Block. And not saying they can't do that, but I feel like, if you're going to be teaching them about money, taxes is a very important part of that. So if they do have a part-time job, sit with them and show them how to do their taxes. And I will do it a couple of times a year, or not a couple of times a year, a couple of times as they grow. And then, if they they have a full grasp of how to do their taxes, then in 1 year they don't feel like doing it, then you go hire somebody. But also teach them the importance of hiring a tax professional once they start making more money, to get that full-time job. Of course, this would be later on. I'm jumping ahead, but I'm talking about like, past college. But encouraging, high school high school age kids, to go out and get a part-time job is something that can really help initiate the concept of financial responsibility. And, you can even install in them if they, don't want to go work for someone, an entrepreneurial spirit, essentially, where, hey, I don't really want to go work here, but I do want to mow lawns, essentially. Okay, well, you might have to go work here to get your lawn equipment. And then once you get your lawn equipment, you can start putting in the hours while you're still working a part-time job to, build up, mow a couple of lawns on the weekend or when you have off. And that's if they have that entrepreneurial spirit. And I know that sounds like a lot for, especially a teenager who has school and life and all that other stuff. But if that's something that they want to do, make way for it and encourage it, because you never know where that's going to lead them in the future. Another thing, I kind of already mentioned it in the beginning with the allowance, but you can also, have your kids contribute to purchases. So like, when I was a kid, I wanted video games. One of my favorite video games were Pokemon. My mom couldn't afford it, so I had to go out and, do what I can to come up with 40, or I think it was like $30 at the time. $30. It took me all year and come up with a $30 to, of course, that's me contributing the whole amount. But those lessons of early on of learning how to go out and purchase something that I wanted by myself helped me to respect, my money, my earnings. So that's something that, you can do if you are fortunate enough where you can afford to buy things. Maybe, hey, I'll give you 50% of what you want if you come up with the other 50%, or you even have to do something as big as 50%, because if you're talking about like a car or, traveling, but like if you want to go to the movies and it's like, $20 to go to the movies, you come up with $10 in 2 weeks. I'll come up with the other $10 and you can go to the movies. That way, they feel like, they worked for, their reward. Now, of course, I wouldn't, have it to where they're working to live in the house. Like, hey, you come up with half of the light bill and I'll come up with the other half of the light bill. You can keep your lights on. That doesn't, at the end of the day, you're still a parent and it's still a child that you're taking care of. So, anything extra, they may want to do that has nothing to do with actually taking care of them, that can really implement a lot of things early on for their financial education. So those are pretty much the ways of, helping your child to get money. Well, I know contributing to purchases is not like an actual way to get money, but it's a way to help them respect the things that they buy and you buy for them. But now I want to talk about, opening up a bank account. If they get to a certain age where they do have a part-time job, they're going to need a bank account. Opening up a bank account for them. You can even do a savings account early on. And I'm pretty sure I talked about this some episodes ago about having teaching your kids how to invest. I'm not 100% sure when. I do these episodes like sporadic. So this might be episode 27, but really this was episode 40, because of point is, I'm pretty sure if you looked at my catalog, you'll see that I've talked about it. But yes, opening up a bank account for them will help them to get that sense of responsibility, like, hey, this is the actual banking institution that you are putting your money in, your name's on the paperwork, and all that stuff. That's if they're of legal age and stuff like that. But you can also open up a kids account for your younger kids to kind of help them save at a younger age. Basically you'll be saving their allowance, but that helps them to, get an appreciation once again for the money that they're getting handed. It's not just something that they see as an entitlement. They're not entitled to it, if that makes sense. It's something that is earned and it, deserves respect. Another thing is, along with opening up a bank account, you can open up a custodial account for your kids and introduce investing. This is a podcast that is heavily it's a financial podcast, but it heavily influenced by investing in the market, because I'm a investment advisor. So understanding and showing them how to invest in the market is something that is heavily understated in today's educational system. Taxes, learning how to do that, and learning how to invest are I would feel like the two biggest things that, are not taught a lot. And the thing is, they have it now where you can buy fractional shares. So it's not even like you got to buy a whole share. So if your kids love Nike, you can, if for every Nike you buy, put 10% of wherever the cost is, into buying a share or a fractional share of the stock, and that way they can feel, one, that, hey, yes, I'm going to buy something for pleasure, but I still have to make sure I'm responsible with my money. And two, it'll also help build a nice portfolio for them. So by the time they do get like in their 30s, or they start having their own kids and their own family, they have something that was been built up from basically, infancy, that they can then hold and, turns into generational wealth. So understanding, introducing your kids to investing early on, I would say I like the stock market better than real estate market with investing early on, because it's cheaper. It's the bar of entry to buy a stock is really low. Like, you can go buy, like I said, a fraction of Apple. You can put $10 a month and buy a fraction of Apple, and instead of having a mortgage or hard money and all that stuff. So maybe later on, in part of their investing journey, you taught them how to do the stocks. Now you can teach them how to do real estate, and so on and so on. And then, honestly, this depends on your parenting style, of course, because like I said, I'm not a parent. Having honest conversations with your kids about money, essentially, be open and honest about, I wouldn't say open and honest to the point where it stresses your kids out. But like, if you're doing well and they want something and you say, well, I can't do that for you. Hey, I can't do that for you because, we have to pay this bill. And once we pay that, then I might have a little extra to do this. But this is the reason why. Because it shows that, hey, I'm not just, telling you no for no. I am being responsible with our family money. And, you have to understand, as you grow up, child, you have to be responsible with money. So it kind of helps them to see, like, hey, basically lead by example, essentially. Understand that, if your kids are seeing you be responsible with your money, and you are, not just, I don't want to say denying pleasures, but like, if you know that, hey, I want to go out on vacation, and right now might not be a good time, so I'm not going to buy the tickets or anything like that. Putting off that gratification, they will see that, and they'll understand that, and they'll internalize that and see that, hey, my parent views money as something that's important and need to be handled with care. I should do the same. Yeah, it's been 17 minutes. Just a few things. There are a lot of apps out there for kids to help them learn managing skills, learning money, and all that good stuff. I'm can't remember the one. I went to this conference a couple of weeks ago, and by the time you hear this, it's probably months or probably even a year ago, where the person I was meeting with was the CEO of a company who teach curriculum, financial education to kids in schools. But I think they give the curriculum to teachers, so I don't think everyone can do it. If I can figure it out, I'll input it into the show. If I can't figure it out, then if I remember later on in another episode, I'm going to randomly mention it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for helping your kids to learn about money. It's really not that difficult. But what is difficult is having poor money management as an adult. So, teaching your kids early on how to manage money and how to make it, manage it, pay the taxes on it, get that financial education early on. Even if you have older kids, you don't have younger kids, it's never too late to start learning. And so, it can be difficult if they don't learn. So it's best to go ahead and do what you can and, see what happens. So yeah, that was it. Another great episode. I know it's a little bit of a short one. I got nothing going on right now. So if I do, I'll input in a show. I mean, when I say I got nothing going on, I mean no announcements. The YouTube, I'm still probably not going to do video for a while. I'm probably not even going to do video. I was thinking about it, but honestly, it's one of those things that I just don't see. If I had like a co-host, maybe, but just a stationary camera sitting on my face as I tell you things about money, I don't know, just don't feel like that format will work with video for me. So if I ever do have a co-host, which I don't know, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I might even do this podcast forever. Who knows what the future holds? We'll see. So that's about it, guys. I appreciate you sticking with me for another episode. And yeah, until next time, stay WealthWise. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Simplicity Wealth and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Sub-advisory services are provided by Simplicity Solutions, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Any insurance, consulting, and education services offered through the WealthWise Show. The WealthWise Show is not affiliated with Simplicity Wealth and Simplicity Solutions.